Good evening, Wendy. How are you this evening?
Good. How you doing, Chris? Hey,
Doing well. So,
everybody.
so,
Good.
so listen, everybody out there, you know what? We need you to do what we always ask you to do, to like, subscribe, leave us a comment. And you know what? Just interact with us because we are embarking on some new territory. We've always been talking about relationships, and we're still going to be talking about relationships, but other components that add to the relationship and help you to have a healthier, more robust relationship. Would you say, Wendy?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So,
Things that are important to your health. We're going to talk about wellness, right? We're expanding into wellness.
exactly. So
Yes.
we're going to do an entire series on wellness because if you are not in the best place from a financial standpoint, from a health standpoint, from a
Emotional.
emotional standpoint, a spiritual standpoint, there are so many different areas. If you're not in a good place, it's hard to have a really good relationship because you're all over the place. You're worrying about things, you're stressed about things. So we're going to try to help put some of those things in perspective and share some information with you today. Hey,
Mhm.
Wendy, you want to get it started?
Yes. Yes. So are we today we're talking about financial wellness, right?
You are talking about financial wellness.
Okay. Okay, I got you. Well, I got a lot to say about it. So
Hey, go for
all
it.
right. Um, and these, I have some tips for you for financial wellness. But before I tell you the tips, I really want to give some statistics, and I don't want to bore you with it, but I have to kind of set you up to so you know how important financial wellness is. Okay. And Chris, this is so funny. We were supposed to do this episode last week, and that
Right.
it didn't happen and everything. The sermon at my service, I watched it online, was about financial wellness. And the
How apropos is that?
so I said, God wants me to talk about this.
Right. He wanted you to wait and talk about it this week because he wanted you to know that he wanted you to talk about it, right?
It has been ordained. Okay. So CBS News reports say 36% of US adults are stressed out over their finances.
I believe that.
The Sleep Foundation um, states that 76% more than 1 in 4 adults are losing sleep over worries about their finances in 2023. This was last year's numbers. Credit Karma reports in 2023, 73% of 10,000 people that they surveyed said they were stressed out over their finances.
Wow, that's a lot.
Okay. So it's pretty important, right? It's taking a toll on health and well-being altogether. So I got some tips for you.
All right,
And
I don't know about everybody else out there, but I need some tips.
okay, well, and I'm not a licensed financial advisor or anything like that, but I have worked in banking and finance for the past 20 years. So, and I've gotten myself out of debt before a couple of times.
Well,
So
you're pretty knowledgeable, so I think
yeah, I
we
got
can
some
trust
tips
you with
for
this
you.
information.
Yes, yes. So first thing that you want to look at is your budget. And a lot of people kind of dread this part, you want to
I
see where your
do.
money's going. Yeah, it's not fun. It is not fun. So, but you have to have a budget. You got to look at where your money's going. A lot of subscriptions and things like that, Netflix, Hulu, all that. You might, maybe you can do without some of those things. Maybe, right? Um, so you want to look at the budget and see if you can cut out some expenses from your budget. Um, you want to you want to shop around for insurance. That's another thing that helps with your budget. So you want to see if you can get a better rate on your insurance, car insurance, home insurance, rental, whatever you have. Okay. And then the second tip is savings. Okay. You have to have, I'm sorry, before I go to savings, the importance of budgeting is so that you are ready for these unexpected life events that happen, your car breaks down or something happens
And
with
Wendy,
family.
also, would you say that as it relates to relationships, you want to make sure that you're in a good place because who wants to go and who wants someone coming into a relationship with them as a financial burden, right?
Yeah, yeah. To me, the credit piece is which is the last piece I'm going to talk about, is
Uh-huh.
most important with, and I'm going to tie that to a relationship
Oh,
that you
okay.
know about. Yeah, a very public breakup that happened. I'll tell you about it. So savings, okay, really, you just want to kind of set up a systematic saving plan with your bank or your credit union, whatever you're using. You want to set that up systematic. Credit unions give you a really good rate on home and cars, so you might want to
They
look at,
do.
you know, getting a savings with the credit union. Okay. Now, credit is the third piece. You can use a credit monitoring service, but you really want to get at least one copy of your credit report every year. You want to go through that report, make sure everything's legitimate on there. If not, then you want to,
And hey, Wendy, can't you get one free copy every year?
yes, you can. Yes. So, but people don't get it. You need
And
to
yet
get it.
some people don't even know it though.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You
that's
know?
something that everybody needs to do. Um, Now, when we talk about credit as it relates to relationships, I don't know if you know this couple or not, Chris, but they were famous on Ready to Love. Oh, the sweetest little season 3, Ready to Love.
Uh-huh.
Rashid and Simone. They about broke the internet, okay?
Really?
They were gonna get married. They had their own little podcast. I was following, just rooting for them. And then it blew up.
Well, okay, so what caused it to blow up?
She was an attorney, and they got to the point where they moved in together, but they started looking at each other's credit report.
Oh, okay.
So when that reveals a lot about a person. It, and what it revealed to her was that Rashid's had, I think he had a number of bankruptcies and a lot of debts, thousands of dollars in debt.
Yeah, it was current debt.
Oh yeah, it was current.
Yeah.
Yeah, that she actually helped him because she was an attorney. She kind of helped set up a plan, but he wasn't in a mental state where, I mean, he just kept doing it again. You know what I mean? Just
Right,
like,
right.
yeah.
He wasn't
So
really ready for that.
he wasn't ready for that. He wasn't ready for that. So the marriage or the wedding kept getting postponed and delayed, and because of this money issue.
Right, right.
And then they called it, off altogether. Yeah. So I mean, that's just a indication of how important credit is. If you in a serious relationship, you want to exchange credit bureau reports and say, hey, this is what I have going on. Let me see what you got going on.
I don't, yes, you can exchange reports, but I think you just need to be honest because, I'll tell you that I would not go into a relationship with someone that had more debt than I had unless they had a top tier job and they just weren't managing their money correctly. But with some help, if they managed everything better, they could get out of that predicament. So I definitely wouldn't go into a relationship with someone that didn't have enough money. Because don't you think people go into debt? They go into debt and they don't have the money, they don't make that money to cover that debt. So the debt ends up being more than what you make. So it's just a vicious cycle. You never
It's a
get
vicious
out of it,
cycle. Yeah.
right?
I mean, if you can't get out of it, there's no way out of it. Now he had businesses.
Uh-huh.
Um, I should say a business. Luxury cars, rental, that whole
Right.
yeah. But he's buying these very expensive cars, so
But
she
he was,
helped him.
but he, but, so what he was, but he was investing the money back in the business, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't working.
Okay.
If the business
Okay.
is not working,
Right.
Yeah,
If it's
why you
not working, yeah, it's
trying,
not working.
right? Right. It's a great idea. And I think there are some in, some businesses like that that are very successful. So I don't know what it was, but yeah, he just couldn't get it together. He couldn't get it together. It was an emotional thing though.
Right,
And
right.
he
And,
talked about some things that were wrong that he needed to fix in himself.
so when did this all come? This all came to head when they decided to get married, or they were making wedding plans, or when
Yeah.
did all this materialize? Oh, when they were
Yeah.
at that point. So,
Well, I think, the first inkling was the credit report. But then
right.
it's like, let's work on this. Let's set up a plan, you
So,
know.
so, so now let me ask you, if you were dating someone and you all decided to exchange credit reports, right?
Hmm.
And the person that you're dating, you look at their credit report and you see all of these things like 10 years ago, where this person was in like major debt, but they've gotten themselves together, subsequent to that. How would you feel about that? Would you hold
Well,
that against them? I guess is my question.
um, now I think there are some exceptions, but really it kind of goes back 7 years as far as your credit
Right.
history.
So for 7 years, and I just used
Mhm.
10, but for
Yeah.
7 years, if you've seen that this seven
That
years ago,
they made some changes
right,
and
they exactly their credit
yeah,
score is higher. How would you feel about that? Because you can easily look at that and say, well, is this a person that regresses because it's 7 years, but they cleaned it up in 2 years and they were back into it another 2 years, and
yeah.
now we're 7 years down the road past that, and everything is good. Well, 2 years from now, what's going to happen? How would you feel about me? I'd be kind of apprehensive because I'm like, okay, every 2, 3 years you get it together, but then everything, turns back around and you're in this major debt all over again.
Well, you do have to look at the patterns, okay? You want to look at the patterns. Now, anybody can have a layoff or something. I know in
Right,
'09, I was out of work. A lot of people were out of work during that crisis, right?
right,
So things happen, but is there a pattern? You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
You want to, yeah. So, a credit report is a picture of what your credit looks like today.
oh, it's a picture of your life.
Well, past 7 years. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, that's why, yeah.
Well, it can go back further than that if have a bankruptcy or you were evicted from an apartment. Some
Right.
things yeah, will stand out. But yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Go ahead.
I just think it's interesting to know that, or it's enlightening, you know, when you get to that point in a relationship where you can. I don't know if people are going to tell you, be honest about that, Chris,
No,
about
they
what,
probably won't. You'll have to see their
yeah,
credit report.
yeah, you're
You
going to
know?
have to. Because they're going to say, what, oh, that, I forgot about that, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh no, I'm doing okay. I pay my bills. Okay. Yeah, but here's five that you haven't paid.
And what about that repossession that you have, your car was repossessed? What happened?
Like, when you really think about it, because think about it, people go into relationships and they don't look at any of this, and then they wonder
Yeah,
why they have such financial woes while
yeah,
they're together. It's
yeah,
because of all of that you didn't look at, and that can be on the male's part, or on the female's part, either
yeah,
one or the other. I
yeah,
mean, I don't have you can look at my credit report. You can see everything because I've been in debt, out of debt, in debt. But I
yeah,
know, but I
yeah.
do I do know how
It's
to break
unavoidable, I
it.
think, right?
What's that?
It's unavoidable debt,
Well, you
really.
know what it is, especially in the last 20 years, I would say when the market's been so volatile, you lose your
Mhm.
job. You got to spend every penny that you save in order to keep your house, keep your car, until you find something else. So yeah, it is. I guess the thing is if you see that the person truly worked at trying to clean it up, and one thing I would tell people out there, freeze your credit report. Do not open it up unless you need credit for a reason. Other than that, freeze it. Freeze
Well,
it.
you definitely should freeze it if you're a victim of fraud or something like that happens. You definitely want to freeze it.
Exactly. But and
Yeah.
also If you don't want to freeze it, I recommend that you do. You can also put alerts on it.
Yeah,
Um,
mhm,
so that that way if you hear if it if something does happen, so there's someone trying to access anything
mhm,
fraudulent that looks fraudulent, you'll get an alert. But I
mhm,
still say, freeze your accounts. I didn't know about freezing until probably maybe, and literally, and I'm a mature person and I didn't know about freezing my
mhm.
account until like 10 years ago. And
Yeah.
and another thing I'll say about everyone, when you freeze your account, it gives you a good opportunity to start getting your finances in order, especially if you're in a relationship and you're looking to buy a house with this person. Because now once you freeze it, some businesses can still, I don't know how this works, access it, but as far as that continuous pulling on your credit report, that'll go away. You may see a few things here and there, because even though I've had mine frozen and I've looked at it when I went to buy a house or something, I did see some inquiries on there, and I'm like, well, how are they inquiring? And I've frozen it, but it's very minimal. Whereas,
Mhm,
you when you get all those credit cards in the mail, the reason you're getting all those credit card requests is because they've looked at your credit history, they've looked at your credit report,
mhm.
and see that you
They
might
know
be,
your score.
yeah,
Yeah.
you might be a good risk for them. So they
Mhm.
start sending you all of these credit cards and all
Yeah.
these other things to take out loans, and whatever the case may be, get
Yeah.
credit for this, credit for that. So listen, especially for if you're older, at this point, I mean, I could say for me, there's not a whole lot that I need. I'm not trying to get credit for anything at this point for the most part. So when you're older, you can easily, I think you can clean your credit up a little bit easier, if you've not had years of bad business
Bad
opportunity,
habits,
or
I think.
yeah, you know what I
If you
mean?
haven't
Oh,
made a lot of bad decisions.
bad
But
decisions.
yeah.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
there's a couple of ways that you can there are a couple of ways that you can pay down those credit cards too. I like to pay the smallest balance ones first
Right. Pay those
and just pay
100.
them off, And the smaller, less than $1,000, I just want to pay them off, right?
Right. Get those out of the way.
Get them out of the way. Now,
And some,
another method is to pay the higher interest rate one.
right. That's what I was going to say. So, but
Mhm.
I guess to what you're saying, if the highest interest rate has a $6,000 balance and the lowest interest rate has $1,000 balance,
Mhm.
I agree with you. I'd still pay the $1,000 off and not just
Yeah,
get them out of the
it's
way.
just
You
easier,
know,
and I feel so much better.
exactly.
Yeah,
You've got that one out of the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
So the moral of this story is finances are important, just in life in general, but especially if you're going into a relationship, and even more so when you get older, because you don't want to get inundated with all those bills, because that means you got to work to pay them off.
Right,
No,
right,
if you're looking
right.
at, retiring, you're sitting back and relaxing, enjoying your
Mhm,
significant other, your partner, your future husband, whatever the case may be, the one
mhm.
thing you want to do is get those finances cleaned up.
Yeah.
So listen, all of you out there, we need you to subscribe. We need you to leave us a comment. If you have any, hey, if you got some ideas, some financial tips, Wendy just gave us some great tips, but if you've got some that you can share with us, please, we welcome them. Absolutely. Right, Wendy?
Sure, let us know what you think. Bad credit is not sexy, guys. But
I like it.
we don't want to we don't want
Bad
to lecture you, but this is just not sexy on a woman or a man, okay?
I, I like that. Okay. I think that's gonna be the name of this segment. Bad credit is not sexy. I love it. So
All right.
so everyone out there, you know what? You talk about sex appeal. Well, yeah, your bad credit is not sexy. So, get that together, and that adds
Get
to
it together. This is January. We're gonna have a great year. We're gonna be
exactly.
financially stable this year.
Winnie, you make a very good point. Let's start now. You've got 11 months to get it together. We're almost at the end of January, but you still got a good 11 months
Yeah,
to get it together.
sure, sure.
And I'll say this real quick before we end this session on finances. I'll say that I do know someone, and I was kind of wondering. They met somebody, and I kept wondering why they were kind of apprehensive about speaking to this person about going to the next level. And I found out why, and it had to do with their finances. So you have people who know that their situation is not in the best position. So that holds you back from going further into relationships either, because now you're insecure, you're not comfortable, you don't
Yeah.
want to share the information with this person. So listen, I guess I'm saying that to say you could be missing out on a great relationship. So get it together.
Right. That's right. One more thing, Chris, before we leave financial wellness. There's a new word phrase called loud budgeting.
Oh, what's that? I like that. Loud budgeting.
Okay, you asked me to go out to dinner, hang out, whatever. So I say, no, I'm either going to go out to dinner or we're going out for drinks.
Okay.
Because this month I'm adding that money that I would have spent on dinner or drinks to my contribution, my 401k contributions.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
loud budgeting.
Oh, okay. So it's basically turning down something to do something that you know is more important to you.
Pretty much, yes. And you,
Something
but you saying it, you're not just thinking it.
you're
You're
saying it out
saying it
loud
out
to the
loud to your
person.
friends or
Yeah.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, you're telling them exactly why I can't do this.
Yes.
This is why, because this is more important to me. I
Right.
like that. So we got loud budgeting and we got what was the sexy? What was it, Wendy? What did you say? Bad finances.
Bad credit is not sexy.
Yeah, bad credit is not sexy. And we got loud budgeting. Hey guys, two different acronyms, not acronyms, but two different phrases to refer to situations as it relates to credit. So listen, guys, Wendy, thank you for that information on credit. That was great. So hopefully, that can benefit a lot of everyone, a lot of people that are listening to us. I hope that does benefit you. Wendy gave us some great information, and I can utilize some of it too. I still have a few steps that I could take to move a little bit further. No shame in my game. I'm always working hard to be better than I was the day before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all you can do. Yeah.
Any parting words, Wendy?
Um, we have some, let's see, Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yes, 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 yes.
And this weekend, or yesterday actually, I was invited to a little Galentine kind of event called
Ah,
Ladies Rule.
uh-huh. Okay.
And we had some great topics, great conversation. So it gave me some ideas. So, may have some suggestions. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but Valentine's Day is coming up. Stay tuned.
All right, thanks, Wendy, for reminding us about that. So I'm
Yes.
glad you're already on top of that. So we'll be coming back with you, coming at you guys with some Valentine Day tips, especially, you know what? I hate to keep saying it, but especially for individuals that might be on a fixed budget, and you might be on a fixed budget because you're retired, or you might be on a fixed budget because, like Wendy said, you're trying to get your finances in order. So we're gonna come back with some great things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money, but you can still enjoy yourself with your partner, your significant other, or whoever. You can have a great
Right.
time.
That's
So
right.
we will talk to you all next week, and have a great week, everybody. And thank you once again. Please, Wendy, what do we need from what do we need everyone to do?
Like, share, but most importantly, subscribe.
Yes, 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 yes. Please, please subscribe, guys. So we're gonna sign off for now. But Wendy, hold on one second before we leave.